What is up guys, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we are covering r/Am I The Butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell if you enjoy the content of course. Am I The Butthole is a subreddit where the OP asks if they handle the situation well and basically if they was the butthole in this situation. It'd be great if you could give your opinion on some of these stories in the comments below. That's what I love about these kind of stories, the interaction it brings within our community, so it'd be fantastic if you could give your opinions below. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love guys. Our first story is from Hey is a dumbass. Am I the butthole for refusing to tip a mentally handicapped waitress? My husband and I have been disagreeing about this for a few weeks now. He suggested we post it here and see what Reddit thinks. My husband and I go to the local Waffle House about twice a month and know most of the waitresses and cooks. In the past, and still far as I know, we have a good rapport with all of them. I almost always tip 40% or more as I know we can afford it and we always get excellent service. Recently, however, Waffle House hired a new waitress who clearly has a mental disability. Now this doesn't bother us, so we have no problem with her taking our order. However, the problem began when she started telling my husband that he was very good looking and asking him, "Can you take me on a date?" To be honest, it didn't really bother me the first few times she said it, but she just wouldn't let it go. When it was time to get our glasses refilled, she refilled his but shot me a dirty look when I asked her for a refill as well. This kind of behaviour went on through the entire course of the meal. When the meal was over and my husband asked me how much to tip in a $32.44 ticket, I told him to leave change, so 56 cents. He didn't say anything at the time, but later when he got home, he told me that it bothered him that I didn't tip her well, and that she only acted that way because of her disability. My argument is, if she can work there, then she can do without harassing clients. So, am I the butthole? I kind of find this one a bit hard to judge because you don't know the person's disability and how mentally sort of handicapped they may be. But at the same time, I would say that OP isn't a butthole in this situation, simply because I don't think because you have a disability, depending on the severity of course, that you are entitled to harass people. What do you guys reckon on this situation? Our next story is from Fairykin. Am I the butthole for outing my brother as a liar and a thief to his wife and potentially causing her to divorce him? Relevant background: my brother, David, is my stepbrother and lived in Europe for about 10 years. He has one kid, 15 female, Martha. He married a woman, Donna, with 2 children about 5 years ago. Kids are currently 16, Rose, and 9, Jack. He moved back to our hometown in Ontario in January. They are staying in my house until their house closes at the end of March. Donna has been cold and standoffish the whole time, and I chalked it up to cultural issues or homesickness from the move. Nope, she hates me and most of our family. Last week was Rose's birthday, and we had a small family party for her. A few days later, Rose asked me why I gave her a present. I explained to her that I usually give cash to older kids, but since this was my first opportunity to buy her a physical present, I decided to do that. Then she asked me why we had suddenly decided to acknowledge her birthday at all, since we haven't in the past. I've been sending Rose, Jack and Martha birthday/Christmas money every year. I send an e-transfer to my brother's Canadian bank account and he gives it to the kids. Rose tells me that her and Jack have never received anything from any person in our family, only Martha has. I told her there must have been a mistake and I would look into it. Rose must have said something to Donna because she came to ask me about it. I showed her the proof that I'd sent money for all 3 kids at Christmas as well as Jack's birthday in the summer and offered to show my bank account, email confirmation and Facebook messages to bro. I would just need time to go through my records and email account. She said no. Turns out that Martha was jealous that our family accepted Rose and Jack as family instead of parenting her. David was just pocketing the money that wasn't for Martha and saying nothing about it. Donna and David argued for hours about it. Donna eventually came and apologised for thinking the worst of us and took her kids to a hotel. I kicked David out for being a lying piece of shit thief. Now our family is divided. Half think I'm an arsehole and shouldn't have said anything, and the other want to just cut him out for stealing from us. So, am I the arsehole? Should I have just kept quiet and not said anything? Edit: I was asked to put this in the post. I wasn't the only family member sending money that the kids weren't getting, and my conservative estimate of the amount is $25,000 over the 5 years that was stolen. Second edit: it doesn't really matter that much, but I'm a woman, and the names are aliases, which got from Doctor Who. I forgot about the Titanic movie. Wow. I've got to say in this situation, 100% not the arsehole. I mean, come on, your brother is stealing, man, from his kids and from you. It's ridiculous. Oh God, I hope you keep in touch with those kids though, because obviously he was the arsehole in this whole situation and has pretty much alienated your relationship with those children. It's ridiculous. What is your thoughts on this situation? Our next story is from Soraya 19. Am I the butthole for having a shirt with a slogan that teases a friend? About 12 years ago, a friend of mine decided to get a tattoo that he wanted, a small kanji that was supposed to mean a particular word. I was studying Japanese, and when he showed off the tattoo, I knew immediately it wasn't the typical symbol, and asked whether he went with a more obscure one, which might not mean the word he intended. It turns out he did not do any research, and had just gone to the tattoo parlour without even a drawing of what he wanted. I pulled out my books and insisted that we look it up immediately. It took a while, but it turned out that the character he'd been proudly showing off actually declared him to be the woman in a gay relationship. He immediately went back to the parlour with my book and something covering the tattoo to get it covered up. A week later, I happened upon a shirt with a phrase, "Your tattoo really means egg roll" in Chinese. I thought it was hysterical and bought it and wore it the next time I was around that friend. He took it in stride, even seemed to find the humour in it as well. Yesterday, I unearthed that shirt again and wore it while doing some housework, then to grab dinner. I ran into that friend and his wife. He took one look at the shirt, began laughing, and told his wife about the story of the shirt. She was not amused and said several things about it being insensitive and nasty. I didn't intend to run into my friend and haven't worn that shirt in front of him, with the exception of right after I bought it and when he finally had the tattoo removed. Am I the arsehole? Edit 1. I am female. My friend is male. Now straight away, you had to make that edit that I am a female, my friend is male. It sort of jumps into my mind that there could be some jealousy involved from the friend's girlfriend. I don't know. That's what sort of jumped out to me straight away there. But no, not the arsehole at all. Two friends joking about it. He took it in his stride. He enjoyed it. The female's the one who's getting butthurt about it. So, you know, just let her do what she's got to do. If it's a jealousy thing, well, that's her own problem, you know. What do you guys make of that story? I thought it was a pretty wholesome one, to be fair. Our next story is from Baby's Mum is Gone. Am I the butthole for telling my sister I don't trust her to watch my son? I'm a 19-year-old man with a 3-month-old son. His mother surrendered her rights and is no longer in the picture. I work 4 AM till 12 PM at a gas station and I raise my son. That's what I do these days. Only one of my friends still speaks to me and hangs out with me. I live at home with my parents and sister, 21, and pay a small rent each month. I can't afford to move out with a baby. My parents help me when they can. My sister doesn't like my son. She once told me she thinks he's an annoyance and a hindrance. If he cries, she complains. If there's baby clothes in the laundry, she complains. Basically, the baby exists and that pisses her off. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best to be a good dad. My sister has never offered to help with the baby beyond holding him briefly, and she hasn't done that more than about 4 or 5 times since he was born. The other day my friend called and offered me a really great opportunity for some side work. He works construction and they needed an extra guy for some installation work. 4 hours and I'd get $400. I jumped at it. Any extra money can only help. I started to find a babysitter. My sister was hanging out in the living room while I walked around the house on the phone. I managed to find a sitter who said she didn't want to be paid and went to get the baby ready. My sister asked me why I didn't ask her when she was sitting there. I told her I didn't think she'd want to, since she'd never offered to help before. She told me it was different, this was for work and not just me wanting to sleep or whatever, and he was about to go down for his nap and he's pretty easy when first wakes up. She told me it wouldn't be a problem. I asked her why she didn't say something between phone calls and she said she didn't think she needed to because we're family and family ask each other for help. I reminded her of all times she complained about the baby and called him names and told me she wished he'd never been born and asked her why she thought I'd even trust her with my son. She started crying and told me that wasn't fair and I needed to remember the whole house was dealing with a baby and she was just having a hard time adjusting, but she'd never do anything to hurt him. I told her she should have spoken to me about her feelings instead of acting like a child, took my son and left. When I got home, both my parents set on me because my sister told them I'd accused her of bad intentions to the baby. Am I the arsehole for being honest when my sister offered to babysit? ETA, apparently God is on my side right now. The lady I mentioned in the post who babysat my son for me, she goes to church with my mum, and when I dropped my son off, I explained that I was having trouble finding a sitter or paying for daycare. She called the pastor and explained the situation, and 2 days a week my son can attend church nursery school from 7 AM to 12 PM for free, and the lady has offered to take my son 1 day a week during the same time frame, and also found another lady who will take him for 1 day a week, same time frame. The ladies both requested $50, which I'm happy to pay. That means there's only 1 day a week and 3 hours in the mornings that I need childcare, and my mum has agreed to watch him for the 3 hours and drop him off. I still have to figure out Fridays, but Mondays to Thursdays are covered, and I can breathe again. I was kind of liking this story when I was going through it. I thought, maybe the sister has turned around and maybe she does want to help. But then I kind of realised, the girl is 21. You're 19 and you're dealing with your son and you're being more mature than she is. I mean, come on, man. She needs to sort her life out. If she's got problems with an infant. Problems with an infant and you're 21. You're having trouble adjusting. You're 21! Dude, you're not the arsehole. I was kind of in two minds when I was reading through it until I backtracked and realised she was 21. I mean, come on now. What do you guys make of this story? Fair play to this man. 19. Wow. I couldn't imagine dealing with a child at that age. Our next story is from Throwaway 21423. Am I the butthole for kicking out a girl from my daughter's sleepover birthday party? My 34 male daughter, 14 female, had a sleepover birthday party last Saturday, and she invited 5 girls from her school. There was one girl she invited who I could tell from her attitude was a spoilt brat. When she rang the doorbell, she walked in looking down at her phone, didn't greet me or my wife, and handed me a jacket without even looking up. The whole night she was on her phone, doing whatever the heck 14-year-olds do on phones. I thought she was just embarrassed or shy, maybe she didn't know anyone, but according to my daughter, she's a super duper cool girl. Anyways, towards the end of the night, my daughter was opening her gifts. SB made a comment about every single gift. Not exactly snarky, but more like she was just unimpressed. The final gift was from me and my wife. We bought her an iPhone 7 by pooling all of our remaining extra money to buy her it. The SB scoffed because she had the newest gen iPhone. I helped my daughter set up the phone with a SIM card, and the rest of the night they just hung out in her room. My daughter came down a bit later, and she was just sitting on the couch. I asked her what was wrong, and she just went back up saying, "Why couldn't you just bought me the newest iPhone?" That was really out of character for her, and she is always grateful for receiving anything. My daughter left the phone on the table. I grabbed my daughter's phone to see a bunch of texts going back and forth between SB and my daughter. They exchanged numbers, and the convo went something like this. "Hey, it's me." SB said, "Thanks for inviting me to your lame slumber party, lol, and congrats on the iPhone 7. Haha." What? Aren't you mad your parents and friends got you such lame gifts? Slumber parties are for little girls, lol, but whatevs, it's cool. You don't like the party? I just wish I could go home, lol. End. It was around 1 AM and the girls were still up talking. I knocked and asked if I could speak with SB. She looked confused. I told her she needed to grab her things. Something came up. I did this as not to embarrass my daughter in front of her friends. I took her downstairs and asked her to call her mum. She said why? Because that's what you said, right? You wish you could go home. So go. She was tearing up a bit and made the call. I talked with her mum for a bit when she came. I showed her the text and she apologised profusely and said, "It's just a teenager phase, I guess. I'm so sorry, but don't you think she could stay? If not, I understand." I thought about it for a bit, but her staying would probably have made it awkward for everyone, so I told her it's for the best if they just left. My wife said that I overreacted, and I should have just talked with SB rather than immediately kick her out. I firmly believe that I taught her a good lesson that she needed to learn. It was my daughter's birthday, and I didn't want the rest of her night ruined because of some spoiled brat who was making it all about her. I guess she didn't exactly do anything wrong, but at the same time, her attitude was unbelievable. Am I the arsehole? I'm going to go with, I might get shot down with this one, but not the arsehole in this situation. I think that girl needed to be taught a lesson, and obviously it was rubbing off on your daughter almost immediately, so I think you dealt with that situation well. Your daughter obviously felt pressured by her, so dealing with that situation quickly I think was the best thing. I saw a comment that the OP posted below this saying she was immediately laughing with her friends afterwards and things were going fine, so it was obviously for the best in the end. The next story is from Youthy32. Am I the butthole for rejecting a disabled girl's prom asking? Alright, so today was quite dramatic for me. I'm a high school senior, 18 male, and proposal season is currently in full swing. I was in my AP Chem class when suddenly an entourage of people entered my classroom with a disabled girl. She has cerebral palsy. That I know. I first saw the posters and the bouquet of flowers she was holding and thought, "Ah, that's sweet of her." Then they revealed the posters and I read my name and was completely taken back. I literally almost had a fucking anxiety attack. I didn't know what to say and the entire class were cheering and people even started filming. I was straight up frozen for a minute and I could feel myself burning up with embarrassment. Of course, I wanted to say no, but since it was so public and everyone was waiting for me to say yes, I did and hugged her. Everyone clapped, including the teacher, and I was mortified. One of my buddies asked me if I was okay afterwards, since apparently I looked like I was going to burst into tears, and I told him I literally did not expect that at all, and I didn't want to say yes. He suggested that I go and find her after school or something, and explain to her, and I agreed. Now, this girl is really nice. We had a class together last year, and sat next to each other for the majority of it, and talked quite a lot. I would say we were friends then, but we haven't spoken more than 2 times this school year, so we've definitely drifted apart. That's why I was completely shocked when she sprung the prom asking on me. Usually, people have their friends make sure that the other is least aware before doing the asking to prevent situations like this. I was contemplating if I should just bite the bullet and go with her, but I decided I just couldn't because it's my senior year prom and I was already starting to plan my asking. There's this girl that I've liked for a couple of months now, and I've recently heard from my friends that she likes me back, so I was going to ask her. So I ended up going to a special ed classroom after school where I found her and asked if I could speak to her outside. I told her everything, how I really appreciated the gesture, but I was already planning on asking my crush to the prom, and she was crushed. She started crying really loudly and asked me why I couldn't have just said no, and I said that I didn't want to embarrass the two of us in front of all those people. At this point, one of her aides came out to check on us since she could hear the crying, and the girl told the aide what had happened and she straight up glared at me and said, "That's not okay." Now I feel like absolute shit. Am I the asshole? I'm not sure what you guys think about this, but disability or not, if someone put me in a situation like this, I would probably say yes and then approach them afterwards because it was such a public setting and people getting their phones out and filming you. You don't want to crush their heart. It's like you see these marriage proposals on YouTube and stuff where everyone's got their cameras out and they pressure someone into saying yes. I don't think it's right to approach people and do that kind of thing. And it's probably the people around this girl that built this up to do this, you know, the posters and all this kind of thing, the flowers. It's just not a cool thing to do, you know. And I think the OP handled this pretty well to approach her after class and he explained the situation. So I think the guy was in the right in this situation. I don't know what you guys think. I would love to know in the comments below. Our next story is from Get Your Own Baby Name. Am I the butthole for not defending my cousin after he stole my baby name? I'm currently 31 weeks pregnant with my first child, a little girl. I've known for years what I want to name my child. The first name has sentimental meaning for me, and my husband and I chose the second name together. We've planned the name for years. When we were dating and talking about the future, one of the things we always said that our firstborn would have this name. It's gender neutral, so it didn't matter if it was a girl or a boy. As soon as we found out I was pregnant, we started referring to the baby by name, because we've had this name in our mind for so many years. Our whole family knows the name and the meaning behind it. We've already started decorating the nursery with little items that have the name or initials on them. There's basically no question that this would be our child's name. My cousin's wife gave birth 2 weeks ago. They refused to tell anyone what the names they were thinking about during the pregnancy, which is fine. But the name they ended up choosing is pretty much exactly the same as the name my husband and I chose for our baby. It's exactly the same first name and then almost identical second name. It would be like if our baby's name was Mary Elizabeth, then they chose the name Mary Eliza. The actual name isn't as traditional / common as that, so it really does stand out as being the same name. I was pretty upset when I found out because they definitely knew the name we'd chosen and it feels weird and kind of spiteful to use it. I know we didn't own the name or anything, so we can't stop them from using it, but it felt pretty icky. My husband and I decided to just be sort of privately weirded out, but try our best to ignore it. I sent my cousin a text to tell him and his wife congrats on the baby, and then didn't reach out any further than that. I didn't say anything to him about the name. Well, it turns out that even my husband and I are trying to take the high road here. The rest of the family is pretty mad. Apparently, a bunch of them, including my cousin's mum, have reached out and told my cousin and his wife that what they did is really shitty, that they need to think about changing their baby's name. They've also reached out to me to say that they think it's awful that they know how much the meaning the name has for me. I absolutely didn't ask them to do this, but I can't pretend I'm not happy that people are taking our side. My cousin called me yesterday and said that I need to call all of our family and tell them to stop pressuring about the name and that I'm fine with it, because they're ruining his and his wife's time with their newborn. I have no intention of doing so because A, I didn't ask them to talk about it in the first place, and B, I'm not fine with it. I think it's weird that he and his wife did this, and I have no interest in defending him. Am I the asshole? I'm going to go with not the asshole in this situation, simply because your cousin was keeping that a secret because he knew. Simple as that. What do you guys make of this story? Has anyone ever stolen one of your baby names? Our next story is from Mediocre Marionberry. Am I the butthole for contesting an entire will to avoid a clause I didn't agree with? Using a throwaway. I'm the only child of my parents. They set their will up to have me inherit about 70% of their estate, with the stipulation that I donate 10% of my portion to their church. My parents' siblings had the rest divided among them. Here's the thing, I don't view churches to be a worthy cause to give to in general. I actually view it to be unethical to make the churches richer while actually worthy causes suffer. Beyond that particular church had a horrible effect on my childhood that I'm still working through as an adult. I can't on moral or ethical grounds give money to my abusers. They had another clause where if someone contests the will, everyone's portions get tied up in court, and it's very possible that no one gets anything. My case extended legal proceedings for almost 9 months longer than it would have been, but I was able to argue and win that the church could be substituted for any non-profit charity. I chose Planned Parenthood, RAIN, and Saving Our Sisters, the three organisations that I felt best counteracted the religion I was raised in, and split 25%, 15% extra of my inheritance between them. I've been getting flack from all of my extended family who say that I should have honoured my parents' last wishes and not dragged everyone through months of court because I couldn't control my emotions. I don't agree, and I honestly couldn't live with myself having given a single dime to a religious group or religious institution. I would have forfeited the entire thing if I had to not do it. Edit, the legal proceedings have since ended. The reason that they set the will up that way is because they wanted me personally to have to sign the cheque to the church in an effort to draw me in. I didn't realise this wasn't obvious. I think it was the last sentence there that they were trying to draw them in because they didn't have to give them 70%. They could have just done the 10% directly to the church. They didn't have to give 70%, then tell the person to donate 10%. I mean, it's obvious what they were trying to do there, trying to draw them into the church when that person has no interest in the church whatsoever, and they said they've been abused by it themselves. So I think they've done the right thing here. They donated more than they was going to different organisations. They've done a good thing with that money. I'm not a massively religious person myself, so yeah. What do you guys make of the situation? Let me know. Our next story is from Malavestro. Am I the a-hole for thinking the school or the other parents should pay for the new EpiPens? On Friday, a student at my daughter's school had a severe allergic reaction. The kid's parents never brought in a new EpiPen after an old one expired, and the school didn't have any of their own, so they used my daughter's pens. Both of them. Now, I'm not upset they used them. It might have saved the kid's life. I'm glad the kid is okay. Today when I went to drop off new ones for the school, and I asked the school for contact information of the parent so I can get reimbursed for the new pens. They told me they couldn't give me that information and refused to even contact the parent for me. So I produced a receipt and said, okay, you can reimburse me for it as my insurance would only pay once a year for them. I do it every January and I had to get these out of pocket. The woman acted like I had aborted a baby in front of her. She refused, saying the school isn't liable for the use of EpiPens. I make okay money, but these damn things are not cheap, $650, and that's a lot of money for us. I'm glad it was used to save a kid's life, but I really do feel as if I should be reimbursed. But I was made to feel like a worthless arsehole. I spoke to the principal of the school and, well, I was a little more short than I should have been, after the secretary was such a bitch and he's going to talk to the school board. Currently they've never had this happen before and they don't know how to proceed. It cost me $650 to replace the set. So am I the arsehole for wanting someone to repay me for a life-saving drug that was used on another child? Edit. Thanks, I really do feel better. The office staff and principal seemed like I was the worst person in the world. I normally don't care too much what people think, but those stares, they really got to me. Edit 2, I just got off the phone with the school superintendent. She apologised. It turned out that the school did in fact have EpiPens on campus, but the person in question didn't know the location of the emergency box, another issue, and used the child's pens. She said that they would be doing mandatory retraining for all staff and personnel. They would also be reimbursing me the cost. It would take about a week. She also apologised for the rudeness of the staff in the school this morning, and that they didn't follow protocol last week on Friday about informing me that my daughter didn't have an EpiPen any longer. In short, I wasn't being an arsehole after all, and the office staff, for whatever reason, maybe they were scared that me asking questions would lead to something. I don't know. I just want to thank all of you, especially those that give me information on generic forms of this drug. I'm going to talk to my daughter's doctor about this, as in the past I was told there wasn't a generic. This will really help us save, because the damn things are so costly, and I make enough that I don't qualify for any of the programs to help lower the cost. Thank you. I know we've already got the answer for this one, but I would have said instantly that you're not the arsehole for $650. Someone using those pens, and as you said, I know it saved someone's life, but that's your money. You would have thought that the parent in the school would have been like, yes, absolutely, we will pay you. You saved a child's life because your child had those drugs. What would have happened if suddenly her child had an allergic reaction and they've used both those pens? Jeez, imagine that flack. Wow. I imagine the school was in an extremely dodgy position there. That's why they were being so cagey. What do you guys make of that story? And as always, guys, thank you so much for being here today. What do you guys make of stories like this where we can get a response from our community? Do you enjoy these type stories, or do you just prefer to chill out, not have to do anything? I don't blame you, to be fair. But what do you guys make of these stories? I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know in the comments below, as it really helps us push forward. As I said, we've been going with some longer stories more recently, and I've been enjoying doing it, but I only want to do them if they benefit you. You know, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, baby. If you made it this far in today's stories, please give me a reaction to one of the stories below and include a boop in there as well. Let's see if you can do this one. Thank you, as always, for being here. It is really appreciated. I truly appreciate the time out your day to watch these videos. It really means so much to me and this community. If you're new here, please consider joining us on Discord as well. There's a friendly bunch on there, always chatting about all sort of weird stuff sometimes. But they are a lovely, lovely bunch. Trust me on that. Join us, and I will see you in the next one. Much love now.